A shattering dawn above Tehran. Just days ago, the unthinkable happened. A massive joint strike by the United States and Israel thundered across Iranian skies. Satellites and reporters confirmed a series of devastating hits on Tehran's nuclear facilities and military sites in the early hours of that fateful Sunday. The Pentagon later acknowledged the operation, codenamed Operation Midnight Hammer, involved sophisticated decoys and was carried out without any immediate Iranian resistance. In one fell swoop, President Trump's forces had inserted themselves into Israel's war by striking Iran's Fordo, Natanz and Isfahan nuclear sites with bunker-busting bomb. The world instantly awoke to chaos. As the Associated Press reported, the world grappled Sunday with the enormous implications of this unprecedented move. Tehran in turmoil, the world watches. The aftermath was surreal. In Tehran itself, ordinary life appeared largely unaffected that Sunday, with no immediate power or water cuts reported and many residents even returning to their homes after fleeing the night before. Yet the tension was palpable. Iran's leaders openly seethed. An Iranian UN ambassador warned the United States had destroyed diplomacy by crossing this very big red line. Even as sirens fell silent, analysts warned that only a fragile ceasefire held the world back from a wider inferno. Global markets trembled. AP notes that the price of oil rose as financial markets reacted to the fears of a broader regional conflict. Bystanders everywhere held their breath, hoping the carnage would not spread. If you feel the urgency of this moment, now is the time to subscribe and click the bell icon. We will follow every twist of this crisis. The next developments could stun the world again. Stay tuned because you won't want to miss what comes next. Africa's young lion speaks out. Thousands of miles away, an unexpected voice rose above the din of war. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the 37-year-old military leader of Burkina Faso, quickly became a symbol of global solidarity. To many young Africans, he is already a rock star figure. AP reports that his image has been plastered over Russian state media, while he espouses Pan-Africanism and liberating the minds of the continent's youths. At just 37, Traoré is Africa's youngest leader, a self-styled champion of independence from Western influence. Followers say he speaks the language of revolution and youth. AP quotes experts noting he articulates a revolutionary message that is appealing to a young population frustrated by the thievery of what passes for democracy in their own countries. Now, in this darkest hour for Iran, Traoré seized the microphone and held it for Iranians. A message of global solidarity. With the cameras rolling, Ibrahim Traoré's voice cracked with emotion. In fiery, heartfelt terms, he spoke not just of Burkina Faso but of shared humanity. He began by thanking all the peace-loving, freedom-loving patriots and Pan-Africanists who rallied around the world, a subtle nod that included the shocked Iranian people, and he declared that the struggle against oppression was always justified. He explicitly placed Iran's pain in the context of a global fight for justice. His words rang out, "We will never bend our backs in the face of adversity," he vowed. "We will stand firm until our peoples are truly emancipated." Even the phrase, "forces of evil," slipped into his speech. "With you, we are certain that victory over the forces of evil is at hand." Spectators watched as tears glistened in his eyes, a black African leader crying on behalf of Iranians, joining their grief across oceans. Consequences and courage. Traoré's message quickly galvanized the internet. Iranians and others around the world began sharing the speech, finding hope and kinship in his words. Many compared the scene to Cold War imagery, with a young leader from a Muslim nation standing beside a Christian cross. Traoré is a Christian, as he prayed for the predominantly Muslim Iranian nation. Meanwhile, governments and analysts were not taking a break. Experts warned that this attack put global non-proliferation efforts at stake and could dramatically reshape the Middle East order. The Iranian military vowed revenge. It even indicated that any country used by the US to strike Iran would itself be a legitimate target. Russian and Chinese diplomats called for emergency UN meetings. The price of oil staying high was just one sign of a ripple effect that had begun hours earlier. The story continues. For the moment, the skies are quiet. A tense ceasefire has held, even as political volleys continue at the UN. Tehran returns to a grim normalcy, bombed-out factories and vacant neighborhoods, while ordinary people try to pick up the pieces. But everyone knows this is only a pause. Ibrahim Traoré's tears for Tehran have been broadcast around the globe, but the world now asks, what comes next? Will diplomacy mend fences, or will the missiles fly again? This story is far from over. We will keep watching, reporting, and explaining every development in real time. The battle lines of war have been drawn once more, but by telling these stories, we refuse to let them define us alone. The next chapter is still unwritten, and together we will witness it. In the shadow of smoldering embers and fractured skylines, the world held its breath. Tehran's children returned to school under skies that had once rained fire. Shops reopened with shattered glass still crunching beneath their doors. But no one could escape the silence, not the physical silence, but the one inside, the silence of knowing that life could be taken away again, any moment. In a crowded hospital ward in Qom, a young Iranian boy named Ali whispered a question to his mother: if America and Israel hate us, who will love us? She had no answer. But 3,000 miles away, someone did. Traoré's second message, a father's cry to humanity. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, still in military fatigues and surrounded by no press agents or diplomats, took to a dimly lit podium. His tone had shifted. The fire was still there, but beneath it, something more dangerous stirred: pain. When I saw the images of Iran's wounded children, he began, voice trembling. I did not see a foreign people. I saw my own. I saw the same eyes I saw in Dori, in Ouagadougou, when our people bled under bombs we did not call for. He paused, clenched his fists, and stared straight into the camera. Who gave these superpowers the right to choose whose children will live and whose will die? The room was silent. And then, like a father speaking not to leaders, but to the human soul itself, Traoré uttered something that would haunt history. I wept for Tehran. Not because I am Iranian, but because I am human. Global reverberations, the voice the West couldn't mute. His speech, barely an hour old, began to ripple across the globe like thunder across dry earth. In Nigeria, students replayed it on loudspeakers between lectures. In Pakistan, a mosque replaced its regular sermon with his voice. In Turkey, elderly citizens stood in tears outside cafes, whispering, "This African man understands us." But it was in the United States that the message hit hardest. Suddenly, a viral hashtag emerged on Twitter, #TraoréspeaksForIsrael. American youth, disillusioned with endless war, began quoting him. One wrote, "My government sent missiles. He sent a message." Meanwhile, in France and Germany, protests erupted demanding that NATO halt all support to any future military action in the Middle East. Giant posters of Traoré appeared beside peace doves, with the words, "Not our war. Not our silence." Behind closed doors, Western panic, African resolve. Inside a closed-door G7 emergency meeting, tension exploded. CA briefings labeled Traoré rising agitator of post-colonial defiance. French officials worried he was becoming more influential than Macron among Francophone youth. But Traoré didn't stop. He gathered African leaders for a virtual summit the next day. And in a quiet, firm voice, he asked them, "Are we to sit quietly while our brothers in Iran are turned to ashes? If today it is Tehran, tomorrow it is Bamako. Tomorrow it is Algiers. Tomorrow it is Accra." Some scoffed. Others shifted nervously. But one thing was clear: a storm was brewing. A storm led not with weapons, but with truth. Tehran responds, a letter across the desert. That same night, Traoré's office received a handwritten letter. It was not from a diplomat. It was not from Iran's supreme leader. It was from an 11-year-old girl in Isfahan. Her name was Layla. "Dear Mr. Traoré," she wrote, "I don't know where your country is, but my father showed me your speech. My school is gone. My brother was hurt. But when you cried for us, I felt strong. Tell your people we love them. Tell your people we are not terrorists. Tell your people we want peace. Please don't forget us." He read it aloud, tears staining the pages. And for the first time since the bombs fell, he smiled. "We won't forget you, Layla," he whispered. "We will never forget." The rising storm. But far from hope, danger still brewed. Reports began circulating. Iran's elite units had moved east. American fleets shifted in the Strait of Hormuz. A leaked memo from Tel Aviv warned, Tehran will retaliate within days. The countdown has begun. Russia and China announced joint naval drills in the Persian Gulf. Turkey declared full diplomatic support for Iran. The global chessboard was set, and at its center stood a man from Burkina Faso, uninvited, unarmed, but undeniably present. This is not the end. The next 72 hours may decide everything. The ceasefire is crumbling. The alliances are hardening. The voices are rising. But there is still a chance, however small, for humanity to choose light over fire. And while warships move and missiles wait, one voice dares to whisper into the dark. We are all Layla. Stay with us. The story continues. The tears have not dried. The fire has not stopped. The hearts have not healed. The world must listen. Because silence now is complicity. Disclaimer. The content shared on this YouTube channel is entirely fictional and created for educational and entertainment purposes only. The stories about the life of Ibrahim Traoré are imaginative works of fiction and do not represent real events, news reports, or verified facts. These videos are not connected to any official source or news outlet, and viewers should not interpret them as factual representations. Thank you for watching and supporting creative storytelling.